Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I know it has been far, far too long, but we are back on the Smooth Plays podcast, and we got myself, Austin, aka Austin Plays, joined once again by Dean, aka Mr. Smooth. How have we been, Dean?
I've been good, man. Tired of talking about Raiders Giants and ready to talk about these playoffs. Let's
I
do it.
mean, yeah, look, we're at the playoffs now, so we don't got to worry about these crapshoot games that no
Yeah.
one's gonna be paying any attention to. It is win or go home season, all right? The Raiders and Giants, they're already in Cancun, all right? So we're chilling, we're ready to go. This is it. This is exciting. This is all of the chips are on the table for all these teams. And to break it down, we're gonna start by going over each one of these teams in the AFC and NFC and just talk about briefly how we got here. So we're gonna start in our AFC. So our Chiefs are our number one seed, right? Bills at two, Ravens at three, Texans at four. These are our division winners. And then we got the Chargers at five, Steelers at six, and Broncos at sevens. So let's start with the Broncos at seven. I mean, look, Bo Nix, man. Sean Payton, I mean, I think it's a good little coaching quarterback marriage that they got going on, and obviously a big part of them has been ridden by their defense, but I've been saying all year this Broncos team with the rookie Bo Nix, like they're a playoff team. They're a good squad. And they
Yeah, you
play
have
hard.
you have been saying that, and you got to think. I kind of forgot what Sean Payton was doing once he left New Orleans, and it was just ugly at first with Denver. But we got to remember how good those Saints teams were, and even though they never made it to the big dance, except for the 1 year with Breeze, those teams were very good. Like they were consistent playoff teams who had home field advantage in the playoffs.
Correct.
And it seems like with a young QB, he might be starting that up with Denver.
Yeah, and then a big thing. I mean, obviously Drew Brees highlighted those Saints teams, but those Saints teams were built on their defense also.
Yeah.
So I mean, trend continues, and I mean, I'm not surprised. I said they would be here, and obviously there was a lot of battle going on whether or not it was going to be the Broncos or the Bengals in this spot. It ends up being the Broncos. So we'll see what they can do in this playoffs, maybe make a run. But moving on to six, we got your Pittsburgh Steelers at the sixth seed in the AFC. I mean, let's hear from you. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm glad they're in the playoffs, obviously, but if you would have asked me 4 weeks ago, I thought they'd have, the 3 seed next to their name. So it's a little disappointing that they fell down the way they did. But their schedule at the end of the year was tough. Three
Mhm.
games in 10 days against Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, who I don't know,
I mean, these are all playoff teams.
those are three of the top five teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
So they closed out rough, and I don't know. I'm feeling the Steelers have a formula of winning in the playoffs with good defense. They run the ball, good deep ball with Wilson, but you just never want to back a team who's not playing well going into the playoffs, and
Yeah.
that's
I
what they're
mean,
doing right
how
now.
many did they lose of their last five games?
No, they lost. They were 10-3, and they're 10-7. Their last four. So
Not,
yeah,
yeah,
lost
I
their
would
last
say
four.
you definitely want to be getting hot at the right time. And from what I've seen, the Steelers team doesn't look like they're hot, but
Yeah,
I mean, doesn't mean that they still can't make a run. So we'll see. Looking at our Chargers, right? Chargers, LA, obviously everything going on in LA, the wildfires is crazy. I do think that is gonna actually have a little bit of an impact on their playoff run, believe it or not. But talking about what they did, I mean, Jim Harbaugh, man, this guy just wins. He's just a winner.
everywhere he goes, he wins.
I mean, and not to just not it's but it's not like he came into a situation where there was just nobody. I mean, he's got Justin Herbert, right? I mean, they kind of revitalized like not revitalized, but restarted J.K. Dobbins' career, and then
Yeah,
Lad McConkey is
he's been
he's been a baller all year for LA. So definitely no slouches in the Chargers organization, but yeah, I think Jim Harbaugh is the big story. First year head coach making it to the playoffs, right? I mean,
it's
what more can you ask for?
Yeah, you got to be happy for the Chargers because what have the Chargers done? Let's be honest, in the past 20 years.
I
So,
mean, Philip Rivers is literally his the entire story for his career is he just can't win the big games. So
yeah. So
You
we'll
know,
see if they can
every
change.
opportunity they get, they're crossing their fingers, crossing their toes, hoping that this one's gonna be different. Moving on to our fourth seed, Houston Texans. All right, these are division winners, and yeah, Houston Texans took a big step back this year. Despite that, they still end up winning their division. I think that just speaks to how bad their division was, though,
Yeah,
because
the AFC
there was
South
no
laughing.
competition in their division.
Yeah,
But Houston, you were the best of the worst, and you punched your ticket.
yeah,
So
hey, home playoff game for the Texans, so that's big.
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if they can make anything happen. All right, and then Baltimore Ravens at three. Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's up there. It's kind of between him and Josh Allen for the MVP. And yeah, Josh Allen or not Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. It's everything we thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, let's be honest. When you add Derrick Henry to a team who primarily runs the ball and has Lamar Jackson as their quarterback, we knew good things were going to happen, and both those guys have reaped the benefits. And the Ravens are looking strong, man. Not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
I would say we'll see. Bills at two. Josh Allen again. We just said he's the other guy. I mean, he's literally. I think if it was up to, I would say he's my MVP for the year, just because. I mean, I don't know if you put Lamar Jackson on this Bills team if they're
Yeah,
a two seed because what Josh Allen has done with the amount of like talent he has around him is incredible because the him compared to Lamar, right? Lamar's talent around him is significantly higher than what Josh Allen has. So
yeah.
Bills are
Well,
a two seed. I love Josh Allen and what he's doing, and I like this Bills team a lot.
I do like the Bills as well. I would argue that the weapons in Buffalo, at least receiving weapons, are probably better than in Baltimore. But obviously, the run game helps out Lamar a ton. But yeah, Josh Allen's my MVP as well.
And then closing it out, our one seed, the Chiefs. I mean, they're 15-1. This is a team that you would have thought, they just killed everybody. But every single game I felt like was a close one score, barely a two-score game. And it came down to the wire. But they're 15-1, number one seed bye week in the AFC. I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes. Did we expect anything less?
No, we didn't. And it didn't look pretty, but winners win. It's that simple.
Winners do win. All right, and then moving on to our NFC, we got the Lions at one, Eagles at two, Bucks at three, Rams at four, Vikings at five, Commanders at six, and then the Packers at seven. All right, I mean, let's start it off. We're gonna just dive right in. Packers at seven. I mean, what did we see from the Packers? I mean, how we feel about them going into this?
I mean, I'm high on the Packers. I might be higher than the average person, but I think the Packers are a good football team. They force turnovers, they run the ball well, and I like Jordan Love. They were just look at the division they played in. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
you
mean,
got
it
two
hands down the
14
toughest division in football.
two 14 win teams ahead of you.
Yeah,
And
and you still make the playoffs. I mean, that
yeah,
says something.
so the Packers I think are solid. Like the
Yeah.
NFC's playoffs are
NFC
pretty
is
bad.
strong.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, just my one note that I had for the Packers, obviously the addition of Josh Jacobs in the
Yeah,
offseason. We thought we'd see Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs. They ended up getting rid of Aaron Jones, and people were kind of skeptical. But Josh Jacobs, man, just
great.
just workhorse, absolute dog for the Packers this year. I
Yeah.
mean, great addition. Obviously, the front office knows what they're doing. Um, Commanders at six, another rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels. All right, Heisman winner, and then year one coming in, and you punch your ticket into the playoffs. You're playing in the wild card round at the sixth seed.
Yeah, I'm happy for Jane Daniels, happy for Dan Quinn.
I'm happy for the Washington faithful
Yeah, the
because
Washington fans.
they've had some years, man.
Yeah, they no, they definitely have. So just and let's be honest, this team is really just scratching the surface of what it can become. I mean, and they're the sixth seed already. So
Yeah, I
for them,
mean, we'll see. We'll see. They're still. I'm excited to see what the next few years look like for Jaden
yeah,
Daniels and this Washington team moving forward. Minnesota Vikings at five. You mentioned it. Two 14-win teams in the same division, and this is the one that I mean. Let's just touch on our Week 18 matchup. They looked pretty rough in Week
yeah.
18, and ultimately they can't get the first round bye, so they're sitting at a five seed. But throughout the season, it's one of the best teams like in football.
Yeah, they're sitting at the five seed, but like you said, that's very deceiving. This team can definitely make a run. the Vikings.
Yeah. Looking at the Rams at 4, okay, division winners. I mean, this was a division that was a nail biter all the
Mhm.
way to the end. Anybody's really to get in, and the Rams ended up squeaking it out, and they got biggest thing for me is experience. I mean, they got guys that they literally have guys that won the Super Bowl. How many? 3 years ago.
Yeah,
So
their offensive core is very similar to that Super Bowl team. So yeah, they can.
obviously a little aged, but
Yeah,
you
like you said, experience. A lot experience is very important in the
know,
playoffs.
yeah, don't sleep on them. Looking at the Bucks at 3, I mean, yeah, this was another case of obviously our division is very weak, but dude, I mean Baker, Baker's baking. You know, Mike Evans. I got a little emotional watching Mike Evans hit his 1,000 yards. But I'm not gonna lie. You know, hate it or love it. I don't care. I love it, and you know, I'm just happy to be here, man.
Hey, what 4 or 5 weeks ago, the Bucks were like a game and a half to 2 games behind Atlanta,
Yeah,
and
I
now
mean,
playing
yeah,
a home playoff
we hit
game.
that 4 game losing streak or whatever it
Yeah,
was, and I was getting nervous. So I'm just happy to be here, and we're getting healthy. We'll see what happens. Eagles at 2, again, riding the tail of Saquon Barkley, dude. I mean, he has been I mean he's my clear-cut offensive player of the year, and it's not even close. I mean he would have broke Eric Dickerson's record if he played week 18. The
yeah.
difference that he makes for this Eagles offense is unbelievable.
No, it is. They give it to him 25 times a game, and he consistently has like 120 plus yards. It's
Yeah.
wild.
I
It's,
mean, I think the last time that I personally have seen something like that is like back when Adrian Peterson was in his prime with the Vikings. And so, shout out to the Eagles front office going out there, getting a guy that's going to be a difference maker, and boy was he.
yes, he is.
And then our 1 seed Detroit Lions, I mean, I think obviously despite the Bucks, this is my favorite team in the NFL because how do you root against a guy like Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions just as a team, knowing
Here,
what they've been through through the last couple decades, like how not even like couple, however long it's been their playoff drought or whatever. Like this team is they got in the playoffs last year, and they're putting it even more on the field now. Like I'd say they're leaps and bounds better than they were last year.
yeah, they are, and they are fun to watch. And like you said, just happy for Lions fans. And if when the Steelers go down, I'm rooting for the Lions.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I mean, this is where we're at. These are the teams we got. You ready to dive into this wild card round?
I'm ready to dive into it. Let's do it.
All right, we're gonna start. We'll go over our AFC first, and then we'll just go into the NFC. So, we got two AFC matchups on Saturday. We got the Texans playing the Chargers, and this is in Houston.
Yeah, in Houston, I believe, yeah, it's Houston LA by 3 right now. So home underdogs in the playoffs for the Texans. And in my opinion, I think that's deserved. I think this Chargers team, like you said, all that chaos unfortunately going on in Los Angeles, and I think that can really fuel them. It would be one of the things that can fuel them. They can run the ball well. They play good defense, and Justin Herbert is so good. I don't think people realize how good Justin Herbert is.
Yeah, I mean, when J.K. Dobbins went down, they really kind of leaned off the run game a little bit and started airing it out a little bit more. And it's like people forgot that Justin Herbert is this incredible physical specimen that just has an unbelievable arm and can air it out when he wants to. So, yeah, I think that this Chargers team is dangerous. And they got, now they got, no pun intended, they got a fire kind of fueling, like they got something fueling the fire, and so they can obviously be driven to make a run here. Um, I like the Chargers in this one, and I just don't like CJ Stroud had a down year. Texans are banged up, and I just yeah. And in this particular matchup, I gotta take the Chargers. I just think they're the better team. They've been the better team all year. Give me the Chargers and give me. I think they cover the spread, and that's gonna be my pick.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're also just playing better at this time. They ended the year on a three-game win streak. Last time we saw Houston play was on Christmas, or at home was on Christmas, and they lost 31-2 against the Ravens. So I don't know. I don't see this Houston offense going out there and producing that much today, to be honest.
Moving on, we got the Ravens and the Steelers. I mean, I know you'll be watching this one. Obviously, it's the playoffs, and it's a divisional game in the playoffs in
Yeah.
Baltimore. How are we feeling about this one?
Well, first of all, who doesn't love divisional football in the playoffs? We get to see a third matchup for arguably, I mean, it's a top three rivalry in the NFL, and that's
Yeah.
not arguable. I think it's the best, but obviously I'm a little biased. Um, yeah, I think it should be a good game. This is the 38th meeting between Mike Tomlin and Harbaugh.
In Harbaugh, yeah. I mean,
Uh, it's like their anniversary here in Baltimore tonight, and I do think the Ravens will probably win if I had to put my money on it. But I think 9 points is way too much for a game like
for a
this.
divisional playoff game, you're telling me the Steelers aren't even going to keep it close?
Yeah, with Zay Flowers out too. He's
Yeah.
not playing today.
Yeah, a 9 point favorite at home for Baltimore, which, I mean, if you watched how the end of the year unfolded, I think it's rightfully so that they get a big spread. But I don't know if I can bite because I just don't see the Steelers team going out like that.
Yeah, no way.
I think they're gonna be able to throw some punches and it's gonna be kind of a back and forth, just dogfight that's ugly and is ultimately gonna be one in the trenches. Um, and so honestly, dude, I mean, why can't the Steelers win this game?
The Steelers can definitely win the game, especially with Flowers out. And the best way and we know Lamar's playoff struggles. He's been a top three quarterback in the league the past 4 years. And as soon as they get to the playoffs, it's like a flip switch.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. The Steelers have been very successful against Lamar Jackson so far in his career. Um, I don't know. I think the Steelers are live, but if I had to pick something, I would take them +9, I think.
Yeah, I do like that, but honestly, if I like just picking a winner, I actually think I want to ride with the Steelers in this
I,
one.
I, I love
I
that. I'm
think
down with it.
I think they have a legit shot to win this game. They ended the year bad. Let them, wake up. It's playoff time. Mike Tomlin is gonna like, hey, forget how the year ended. You're here. It's one game at a time. You gotta go out there and win this game. And
Yeah.
you mentioned the Lamar kind of struggles in the playoffs up to this point in his career. I don't know. Look, you don't win playoff games by running the ball. I will say that. And I think that they're going to be forced to throw it a lot more and without Zay Flowers, it's going to hurt them.
It's going to hurt them
So,
all.
give me the Steelers, dude. I got the Steelers being a big underdog going into Baltimore and winning this one.
Hey, I love that. I love the sound of that. Make them throw the ball, no Flowers. I could see this being like a 16-13 Pittsburgh win.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that score. I like that score. No touchdown scored.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, hey, let's go Steelers, baby.
All right. And then closing out our AFC wildcard spot, we got the number 2 seed Bills in Buffalo going and playing the Denver Broncos. And Buffalo's a 9.5 point favorite. I don't want to sugarcoat this. But I also don't want to just act like Denver has no shot whatsoever. But rookie quarterback going into Buffalo in the playoffs, I just don't think it's a good formula. I mean, I think the Bills should go out there and handle their business and win this one. And it's going to put a great, not a great, obviously, end of the year, but if you're Denver, you're satisfied with how this year has gone. And if even with a first round exit.
Yeah, I agree. They've overachieved, and the Broncos. It's Bo Nix's rookie year. You're
Hmm.
1 to 2, maybe 3 years away from really making a run.
Yeah.
They're not deep enough, at least like with the weapons. Like, yeah, I agree. I think Buffalo. I love Bo Nix in Denver, but Josh Allen is not
Josh
losing
Allen,
to the
dude.
Broncos at home in the first round of the playoffs. That's
Yeah.
not happening.
Yeah. Dude, Bills Mafia. Look out. Like I don't know if Bo Nix is going to be able to handle that.
Yeah, yeah, that crowd is gonna be jumping.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Moving into our NFC games, all right. We got the Rams and the Vikings. And yeah, Minnesota's sitting at a 2.5 point favorite. I think that's due to kind of how the year ended, that final game, how they looked. But I mean, we talked about the experience though, and how much of experience is going to play into these playoff games, and the Rams have it. So, what are your thoughts?
This game's interesting because it's not even in LA. It's
It
being
isn't.
moved to Glendale. Um, these two teams have also played already this season. The Vikings played at LA on Thursday night. It was a pretty good game. Vikings pulled it out. I'm actually on the Rams here. And the only reason I'm on the Rams, maybe I'm just remembering that Lions game, but Sam Darnold looked bad in that Lions game. He
Yeah.
was missing guys, missing open guys. And I think that this LA team, like you said, they got the experience. Make Sam Darnold beat you in the playoffs. I mean, this is this his first career playoff game? I think
I
so.
think so. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, and against Matt Stafford and those guys on
Dude,
offense.
literally, yeah, and like we said earlier, won a Super Bowl a few years ago.
Yeah, I think the Rams outright. I think the Rams can win this game.
I hear you, but I just look, you don't, they're 14-2 for a reason, and I like this. I just like this Minnesota team, and I like the story that like the kind of resurrection that Sam Darnold's having this year, and I want to see it continue. Um, I like Minnesota in this one to win it. I honestly do think that, for the Rams, this was supposed to be a home game in LA. And then not even, this was what, I think it was only like 3 or 4 days ago. So kind of a short notice.
Yeah,
They got a heads up that the game is being moved. Their practice facilities in LA. Everything that they have is in LA to turn around and be like, all right, we gotta go on the road to Scottsdale now and get ready over there. I think that honestly is gonna fatigue the Rams a little bit, and they're just not gonna show up and play their best football. So I think the Vikings should be able to handle this one.
I can definitely see that happening. But I like LA.
All right. And we got my Tampa Bay Bucks sitting at the 3 seed hosting the Washington Commanders. What are your thoughts? What are we looking to see out of this one?
This one is going to be great. They've moved it to prime time. It's Baker versus Jaden Daniels. We saw this
Yeah.
matchup week one. Um, I'm excited for this game personally. I know some people going to the game. I'm not
Yeah.
going, but know some people going to the game. And I don't know, man. Jaden Daniels' first playoff game. I almost think that Washington, after losing to them week one, can make adjustments and go into Tampa and win. But I'm not going against Baker and those guys at home. I'm taking the Bucks.
I love to hear it, dude. I love it. I mean, yeah, completely unbiased. Oh, excuse me. I do think that I mean, the season that Baker's having is right up there. He's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion, just based on this season. And yeah, I think that is kind of going to show too. We're going to keep playing this back, the experience, and this is a Washington team that just doesn't have experience in the
Yeah.
playoffs, and this Bucks team has a lot of experience in the playoffs. A lot of these guys on this roster are still from when we had Brady and we went on our Super Bowl run when we had Brady. So this is a deep roster that, I mean, granted, we're pretty beat up, but I mean, they've been resilient all year to even get
Uh,
to this point. So
yeah, I agree with you there, but I could definitely see Daniels going there and making a lot of plays. I can see that. I
I I
might be a
want
high
to
scoring game.
see I want to see Daniels play well, but just not well enough to win the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my X factor for the Bucks, if they want to make a little run, is Bucky Irving, man. Bucky Irving is he's averaging 5.5 yards per
Dude,
carry.
yeah. I mean, he's top of the league. I don't know. I saw something that was talking about it. He's top in the league in yards per carry after contact.
Oh yeah, he breaks a tackle every time he touches the
It's
ball.
incredible. Like I love Bucky Irving, man. Tampa Bay loves him.
He is so good.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm gonna just throw one more thing out there. None of these are the highlights of this matchup. There's one matchup in particular that's gonna be a highlight that everyone's gonna want to tune into.
Marshawn and Mike Evans.
Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans, one last time,
Uh,
baby. I
it's
mean,
one thing
they're gonna
about
be
that.
beefing it out all game. It's gonna be great football, great for TV. Rightfully so, this game is prime time because It's gonna be a fun one to watch. Let's
Yeah.
go Bucks. Handle business. We're gonna move into our last game of our wild card round. We got the Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Green Bay Packers. And I know you're high on the Packers, so I want to hear your and they're underdogs by 5. I want to hear your thoughts first.
My thoughts are Philly has been waiting for this for a while. Big playoff game at home. I do think that the Eagles are going to go out there and win this game, but I think it is going to be very stressful. We saw this Packers team as a 7 seed last year go into Dallas and dominate the Cowboys. I do think that this Eagles team is a lot better than that Cowboys team. So I think that the Eagles will win, but my Packers +5 for me. I think Jordan Love and them boys go in there and play a good game.
Yeah, I think that it is a 5 point spread in the favor of the Eagles because obviously their record is what it is. They're a very good football team. Saquon is the best offensive player in football right now. Um, but dude, this Packers team has a lot of fight, and if they can get Josh Jacobs going and Jordan Love can get on the same page with his guys, like look out. And for that reason, I'm right with you. I think the Packers are very live, and I like the Packers to go into
I
Philly.
like that.
I like the Packers to go into Philly. This is going to be my hot take. Go into Philly, win it outright. Nick Sirianni's gone. I think.
Ooh,
I think
wow.
that if Nick Sirianni gets a first round exit in Philly, how last year, how this season, everything, all the drama and everything that's gone in the locker room, I think he's out. I mean, but that's just my hot take. Obviously, I don't like to see people get fired or get injured or anything because, at the end of the day, we're fans and we're all just people, but I think that's just got to be my hot take that if he loses this game, he's got a very good shot at potentially being out the door.
I like that. And I was gonna say, if Green Bay goes up, goes down and scores and the Eagles punt, that crowd is going to be against Philly.
Absolutely.
So and I think Green Bay is very live, but +5 is safer for me.
All right. Well, that wraps up all of our wild card games. First round of the playoffs is here. Obviously, we have our picks of who we think's going to win these matches, or these matchups. But before we close out, we're gonna obviously. So my Super Bowl pick didn't make the playoffs. Your Super Bowl pick didn't make the
Who
playoffs.
is your Super Bowl pick?
Mine was the Bengals. So
Oh,
we're
mine was
both
even
off. All
worse.
right. This just goes to show that clearly, look, we're not professionals. This
Yeah.
is just two
So,
guys that enjoy football and want to talk about it. So we're gonna clean slate. All right. The Jets don't count. The Bengals don't count. Clean slate here in the playoffs. Who's winning the Super Bowl in your opinion, Dean?
this one's tough. Well, how about we do who's winning the AFC and NFC, and then we'll pick a Super
And then
Bowl
we'll
one.
go from there. All right, I like that. So, do you want to start with your AFC and NFC, and then I
Yeah,
can
let's do it. I
jump off of
really
that?
think I really think if the Ravens get past the Steelers, they will go to the Super Bowl. I think this is the Ravens' year. I think Lamar will step up, and I believe that this will be the only week that they're playing without Flowers. So if they can get by Pittsburgh at home, I think Baltimore with Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, those guys, that defense has been playing a lot better. I think they can go to the Super Bowl. And my NFC pick. It's got to be Detroit, man. It's got to be Detroit. I'm rooting for Detroit. I'm rooting for them. They're the number one seed. They've done it all year long. Monty's coming back. There's
Hmm.
nothing that tells me. I know their defense is banged up, but their defense is just flies around. Like watching them, they just fly around. And Detroit and Baltimore, that's my pick.
Hey, I don't hate it. I do have to oppose though, because this AFC picture, how can you go against Patrick Mahomes? I know they haven't looked good. I know Patrick Mahomes hasn't, been the Patrick Mahomes we're used to seeing, but bottom line, the playoffs run through Kansas City
Got to win an
once
Arrowhead.
once again, and they're looking to three-peat. This team knows what they're trying to do, and they're trying to make history. So, and they're getting guys back.
Yeah.
Like the offense is getting healthier, and Mahomes is getting his weapons back. I think the Chiefs. are very much
Don't say
capable
it.
of winning this AFC championship and punching their ticket once again to the Super Bowl.
I agree with you. They can, but I hope they don't. I really hope they don't.
And then my NFC, man. I mean, yeah. Look, I'm a Bucks fan, so obviously I'm gonna be pulling for the Bucks without a doubt. But from a non-biased standpoint, the NFC is just so deep and the Bucks are just so banged up. I don't think that it's realistic to just be like, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind they're gonna make it. If they do, it'd be an incredible run.
Yeah.
But it's really for me between the 1 and 2 seed, between the Eagles and the Lions. I know I picked the Packers to beat the Eagles, but if I think if they can beat this Packers team and just get that first win out of the way, they're dangerous.
Yeah.
All that said, though, I just think the Lions, like I'm right with you. I think the Lions are just they're so good top to bottom, and they're the best offense in the NFL by far. And it's you can I want to pull for Dan Campbell and these guys. I think it's time, and the Lions, Detroit deserves this one, man. And so give me the Detroit Lions to win. I'm looking at a Chiefs and Lions Super Bowl. You're looking at a Lions and Ravens Super Bowl.
I am. Who do you think's gonna win it?
I think if it comes down to Patrick Mahomes and Jared Goff, dude, history. Three-peating is hard. Look, three-peating is hard no matter the sport, and it happens very rarely. And I think there's a good reason for that. And this Detroit Lions team is so good, bro. But the Chiefs, man, it's Patrick Mahomes, dude.
I
Like, I
know.
think they can really do. I think that if there is a team that's going to be the first to three-peat in NFL history, it's got to be this Chiefs team, and it's got to be Patrick Mahomes.
As much as I hate to agree with you, I could so see it happening. I really can. I just hope it doesn't. I really hope. So your pick's the Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs are going to be my pick.
Dang. Well, I hope it doesn't happen, but I think that's a very smart pick. Why would you go against something that's happened 2 years in a row? I think that's a smart pick. And that's exactly why I'm going to do what I just said. I think the Baltimore Ravens are winning the Super Bowl. As much as I hate to say it, I do think that the Ravens will get to the big game with the Lions. And I think this is Lamar Jackson's, I really think this is going to be his run. If they get by Pittsburgh, I think the Steelers, like you said, with the Eagles, because of the Flowers being out and just that history between those teams, is probably going to be one of their tougher matchups. And they get to play the Chiefs in the divisional round. So because Buffalo's going to win and they're going to play obviously LA or Houston.
Yep.
So I think that we saw they were a toe away from
Beating the
going to
Chiefs week
OT. Yeah,
one.
beating the Chiefs week one. And or it might have went to go into OT anyway. They were literally Isaiah Likely's big toe away
Yeah.
from. So if any team can do it, I think they can. And it was in Kansas City, so they've seen it before. Give me Baltimore.
All right. Well, I mean, look, clean slate, right? Forget what happened in the regular season. It's the playoffs, right? One game at a time. Win or go home football. I mean, what a time. What a time to be alive, man.
That's awesome. I can't wait for
I'm
it.
I'm excited. We're kicking off in a few minutes, so let's go, man. Playoff football's here. You got
Let's go.
anything you want to say before we close out?
Here we go, Steelers, baby. That's all I got to
Hey,
say.
let's go Bucks, baby. Fire the cannons, raise the flags. Come on, Tampa Bay. Let Baker bake. All right. If we don't have anything else,
I got
I'll close it out here. Appreciate y'all stopping by. This was our playoff bracket predictions, whatever you want to call it. And make sure y'all leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll make sure to keep you all updated. All right. I know we slacked off with the holidays and everything. Hope everybody had a good holiday and, Happy New Year to everybody. Let's make 2025 a good one. Let's start off strong with these playoff predictions. How about that, Dean?
I love the sound of that, Austin.
All right. Well, that's all I got for y'all. Appreciate y'all. We'll make sure to see y'all in the next one.